I'll be showing you how to use this drop-down selection using variables in Figma. Welcome back to another video. So in the last video we did an interactive keyboard using variables in Figma. So we can type, say, a basic name, and we can also clear it, or we didn't add the clear interaction. Let's just do that ASAP. So if you are wondering how we did this, you can grab a former video on the channel and check what we did. So I just quickly had interaction for this backspace. I'll switch to prototype, add an interaction. I will say on top, I'm going to set a variable, right? I'll call name and set an empty string like this. So that's all we'll be doing, right? So I'll go back to my frame now in preview. So we write something like us, us, then we can obviously clear. So when we do for this one too, you can write something there and also clear, right? We'll be taking this a little bit further. So what I want to do now is to create a label input, a third input button sort of. All right, so I'm going to click on this text here and I'm going to write the word option. Good. I'm going to give it the color of this text, the text right here. So I'm going to jump to my color style here and give it this gray color. Good. I'm going to click on Shift and A to create another layout frame. Right, so this input field is 330 width. I'm going to give it that same width and 56 height. All right, so we give it width for 330 and then the height of 56. All right, all good. I'm going to left align this using the alignment for the layout, and I'm going to give it padding left and right for 30. Let's say 30. Too much. Let's make it 20. All good. I'll give you a rounded corner of like say 24. Let's be sure what we have here. Of 8. Alright, so let's also give it a few. The same background color that we have here. So without wasting much of our time, I'll just pick the color from here. Alright, I'm good. The next thing is to make this input a little bit interactive. So I'm going to be creating a hover state and a pressed state. I'm going to duplicate this. I'm going to push down holding Alt. I can also do Ctrl D. So anyone you want to do is okay. I'm going to be selecting everything. I want to make sure it's center aligned. Everything is aligned to the center. All right, so I'll make everything a component set. Good. Now I'm going to make this second input something around this light blue here, because that's the overstate obviously. Then for the third input, I'm going to make it a little bit heavy. Something around here is good. All right, so I'm going to jump straight to my prototype tab. You can do Shift E to switch. I'll click on this noodle. I'm going to connect it to this next one. So on tab, I want this to change to this frame. I want it to smart animate for 300 milliseconds. Yeah, so I think this is good. Actually, it won't be on tab. It will be while hovering. So I'm going to set it to while hovering instead of on tab. So, but for this one, I'm going to connect this to this. Instead of on tab, I'm going to use the word while pressing. All right, that's what I'm trying to do there. I'll hold Alt and push this out and test this. I'm going to draw out a frame here, and I'm going to Shift space to test. So if I hover, I get the second state of the button. If I press down, I get the third state. So that's what I'm trying to achieve basically. So yeah, that works. So what I'm going to do next is to make 3 options of this button that we have here. All right, so because it might be hard to see the background, I'm going to like make this background a little bit like this so you can see what we are doing more clearly. I'm going to take this option, duplicate it, Right, I'm going to do Ctrl D again. All right, so for all of these inputs, I'm going to be clicking on Shift A to make it into one auto layout card. I'm going to be removing the space between them, set that to 0. All right, so you can change the word to keep things clear and not confusing. So I'm going to enter option 2 and make option 2 option 2. Then the third one, let's see option 3 there. All right, then the fourth one, option 4. After doing all of this, I want to create a new input card. Right, that will be the one the user will see on the form basically. So this is going to be the drop down. Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to move my text here and write the word select. Let's use the word select. All right, I'll do Shift A to that. I'll make sure the size of the text inside is 15, and then the color is set to our gray. Yeah. Okay, so we already know our sizing now. That's width for 330 and height 56. Then our corner radius is set to 8. Good. Then my fill, I'm going to click on this plus and give it this beautiful fill. Alright, remember we are left aligning this, or left align, and give it a padding left and right for 20. Good. I can go a step further to do Ctrl P. That's to open my plugin. Alright, so I'll search for arrow. So I'll look for the one pointing down. You can also search for arrow down. So I'm going to use this so I don't waste the time. So I'm going to flip this. I'll right click and flip it vertically so it turns the other way, and I'll make this to 20 pixels for width and height. I can drag this into this frame. Alright, so I want to first make this black into this gray color we're having. So I jump to selection colors and pick for my color library to make it gray. I'll click on select here to push this thing to the far right. I'm going to come to this my width property and make it fill container, so you can really see the arrow pointing that is going to push this thing. So I'll click on that and it pushes it to the far right. So that's what I'm trying to achieve here. I'm going to set one more interaction for this. Yeah, so the interaction is going to be, if I click on this, I want all of this to open. All right, so I'm going to jump to prototype, click on interactions. The trigger is going to be when I tap on you, this guy here, I want this action to be set. So the action is open overlay. Right, so it's asking me what kind of overlay. It's saying none for now. I'll click on that and say open frame 57. You can see there, this is frame 57. All right, so you can also name it to easily find it. Frame 57. It's asking me what position would this thing be. So I want it to be manual. So manual has brought it down here. So I'm going to push it down myself like so. All right, I can also click on this to say close when clicking outside. Right, so that works. When I click outside of all of this closes automatically. All right, so that's all I'm doing with that. So let's test this before we go too far. So I'm going to push this. Let's push this to our phone frame here. Okay, I'm going to select this. Let's preview. When I click on this, we have this option, so we can hover on it basically. Yeah, when I click down, we have the color showing that we've clicked or we've pressed. Right, so I'm noticing one thing: the corner radius we're having for this option is not looking too nice, so we're going to take that out. I'm going to click on everything here and remove the corner radius we're having there. So I'll set that to 0 so everything looks like that. Okay, so when we check this again, they have something like this. When we click on this, just something neat and nice. All right, we move to the next stage now. The next stage now is, I want it that when I click on any of this option, I want the overlay to close. Okay, so I'm going to push out this my select card. I'm going to put it to the top there now. So I'm going to select everything, right? And I'm going to jump to prototype. I'm going to set an interaction, right? So we have one here already working. I want to set an interaction. So my interaction is going to be when I tap on you, basically close. So it's going to affect everything. So let's see how that works. if I pull this back here like that and we preview this, all right, so when I click on this, that opens up. When I click on that, it closes. If I click on 2, it closes. So that's perfect. That's something that was what I was trying to achieve. All right, so let's move it to the next stage now. Okay, so the next thing what we are doing next is to start creating variables. We want it that when we click on this option, it jumps here, right? So we jump to our design, and under design we have variables. You click on variable, right? So we have this name variable we set for this keyboard interaction we did earlier. I don't want to confuse things, right? So let's just create a new collection, something different. Let's call this one selection. Right, so for this selection, I want to click on create. So what we are creating here is a string variable. I'll click on string variable. I will call this option. The first one is saying option. So let's call this one Nigeria, obviously, the greatest country. We call the next one option 2. Let's call this, let's just say USA. The next one, option 3, basically. Let's call this one India. The last one, let's see, South Korea. All right, obviously we are going to create one last string variable. So that string variable is going to be for this. Yeah, so I'm going to shift enter again. So I'm doing shift enter. You can also right click and basically duplicate to get more variables coming out. So I'm going to delete this. I don't need this. I'm going to call this last one select. Okay, so the value of this select is going to be let's say select country. Good. So we begin to assign all of these variables we've created. Right, I'm going to click on this select here. See this text here, this is a connection sign. Is what you use to connect in Figma. So I'm going to apply that variable to the select we created. I'm going to click on select. So you see the value changes to what we set it to, select country. So the same thing will happen for all of this. So if I hold control to enter into this selection, I can connect this to this. So it turns to Nigeria. We select this one too. We connect this to option 2. Let's see. We connect this third one to option 3. Then the last one, obviously, for South Korea. All right, beautiful. So now the next thing we are doing now, the most important thing we are going to do now is the interaction. When we click on this, change to this. All right, so I'm going to click on Nigeria. I'll jump to prototype. And since we already have like a prototype going on here, I'm going to click on this and add another prototype to that prototype. So please don't make the mistake of coming here to create another prototype. So you can see that it is changing to drag, but I want it to be that when I tap on it, the interaction should work. So I'm going to remove this and come to this one, click on this interaction we have here, then do plus on it to add another action basically. Okay, so I'll click on plus and do set what? Set variable. So the variable I'm setting is, I'm going to target select. The value should become Nigeria. Simple as ABC. So what I'm saying for this part is when I click on select, turn to this option 1 that with this Nigeria option we did, right? So let's do that for the rest of this. Okay, so I'm going to say one thing here. You see, it's saying close overlay at the top. Please, you need to click on this and push it down. Very important step. Reason is because if you don't push it down, this interaction is going to play first. So this will not take place. This will not work because the first interaction Figma is thinking and saying is close overlay. So once you click on your select and you click on anything, it's going to close the overlay instead of selecting this first before closing overlay. So please don't forget that. And I don't want to do this over and over again. I'm going to jump here. You see this side of the this thing blue. I'm going to do Ctrl C on that. Don't click on this place. Please click on this outside here. Then I'm going to select 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. And I'm going to right click and paste the interaction there. Alright, so if I click on these two now, that interaction is already showing there, so I don't need to write that over and over again. So I'll turn this option to option 2. Right, so I'll jump here again, click here, I'll turn this option to, let me move this up, turn this option to option 3. Then for the last one, I'm going to click in there and turn this option to option 4. Alright, beautiful. So let's test things out. I'm going to move, let's write the word last select country. So I select this and this and do Shift A to make it into one auto layout. Alright, I'm going to remove this spacing. The gap between them is too much. Let's do 8. Okay, I'm going to push it here. Okay, so let's check the prototype to see if this works. If I select country, select Nigeria, so Nigeria is selected. If I select USA, the value turns to USA. If you select India, it turns to India. If you select this, it turns to South Korea. You see, and our interaction for the different states, press and over state, they're also working. Alright, so that's how you achieve this basic prototype. If you enjoyed this video, please consider liking the video and sharing to somebody you'd love for them to see this. I'm going to be seeing you guys in the next tutorial. Goodbye for now.